Hello everyone, my name is Andrea and welcome to my workshop. I made a coffee table and probably too many errors in this simple build. Working with chipboard or melamine required some knowledge in how to plan for the measurements of the pieces needed. I pre-ordered these pieces cut to sizes with edging where needed. But little did I know about the tolerances you need to include or deduct from your drawings. You'll see shortly what I mean. Before starting drilling, I like to mark the position of the dowel holes, and I take care to offset them so the dowels don't hit each other later and weaken the joint. I set two drill bits with different color depths to drill in the edge and face of the boards. Since my chipboard is 18mm thick, my dowels are 35mm, and I set the color stops to 21 and 16mm, leaving 2mm space for the glue. I used the cheap but useful doweling jig and some dowel markers for quite precise joinery. Dowels are strong and hidden joinery for chipboard, and when glue is applied on both dowel and hole, they hold a great deal. However, this is not necessary for a coffee table like this, and sometimes you'll see me applying glue to holes only, and that's plenty strong. So now I need to place this board here, and I marked with the letters so I don't get confused when I'm putting the pins for the dowels, and needs to be flush with the front edge here. And to do so, because when I put the little pins it will drag it, so it's difficult to make it perfectly flush. So to do so, I have a little piece that is offcut, and I will put it here and place the two clamps. And now this is my reference face, so when I put this here to the edge, it will exactly close here. Have to be careful not to hit here with the clamp, this piece. I also have another obstacle, and that's on this end, so I don't allow it to go past this point. And for that I will use this offcut of MDF. First and probably biggest mistake is that I designed the joints flush, but because of this little roundover on edging, the chipboard would be visible if the joint isn't inset for that radius. Therefore, my joint has to be inset for 2mm. I drew it in SketchUp to show you how it looks and how it should be done with the little edge. Next time you see chipboard furniture, check those gaps with your fingers. Sometimes they are much smaller to be seen easily, but sometimes they are larger offsets to create nice shadow line. To je dobro, ali to nije dobro. Again, I use these Bessie parallel clamps and I really like them. They made this project so much easier, and it would be a little bit harder without them. So thanks Bessie again. Next mistake is that when I drew the plans, I completely forgot about the drawer divider which carries the drawer slides. Luckily, I had some offcuts I could use for this, and it won't be seen because it's covered by the drawers. Worse is that I already glued the two pieces for that box, and it was obvious that I should work some magic to join these pieces. I could have used pocket holes, but I didn't want them to be seen if somebody for any reason takes the drawer out. So I worked around it, and I could flex just a little bit the construction to be able to fit a dowel in there to make a sound joint. That was a close call, but I made it. Jebem ty dawał. Then to join drawer shelf of the legs of the table, I cut 2 scraps for spacers and the guide for double centering pins. Because I didn't have enough double centers, I put some doubles in, and then I put the double centers in other holes and repeated the marking for other doubles. After the glue up, I found some gaps between the shelf and the legs of the table. Even though they won't be visible from standing or sitting point, I tried to fill those with some white caulk, and the fix was so fantastic that I used it to hide the ugly joint with the roundover. It worked very well. The tabletop was placed upside down on my table saw and centered to the bottom construction, and I pressed it with double centers. It was very hard to find the transfer holes on this darker material, so I used the light from my cell phone to illuminate, and then you can see very clearly the shadow of the hole. Then I moved on to the drawers. Since there were no mention of the spacing for the push-to-open drawer slides I ordered, I didn't want to order the material for the drawers, but I decided to make them when the drawer slides arrived. Spoiler alert, it was classic 12.5mm for each drawer slide, or in inches that would be 32 seconds of 64th, or something like that. That means to deduct the total inside span by 25mm or 1 inch, minus the 2 thicknesses of the material used. I made drawers from some white oak, and for the bottom I used white-faced hardboard. Oh, look at this beautiful Moxon vise. Find the link in the description or click at the end of the video on Patreon link. Thanks.
like a clown.
So hard. Sorry camera, you have to go. So this is my setup. I took the big clamp and put it to hold the front drawer just temporarily, so I can place the spacings between, or the gap between the two drawers to be equal. And in the middle I took a hand screw clamp and I put inside the 3mm hardboard, so I can use it when I place the other front here to butt it up to that piece, and then I can put it all the way to the top, and you can see I have the two straight edges that will keep me aligned with the top of the shelf, and then the gaps will be equal on both sides. A little bit challenging, but not impossible. Now we'll use the old hot glue trick, and I will put the fronts temporarily and then screw them through these holes that I drilled before. And now I have to hold for a little while, but that was it. Everything seems flush, the gap is equal. So let's try it, let's hope for the best. And it seems like it works. Just to be on the safe side, I will take a little clamp, put it in. And now I will leave that drawer here because I need it for the other one to mount, because this one is not mounted yet. So I will leave the spacer here and then mount this one the same as I did this one. Even though I made more mistakes than I wished for, I'm very happy with the outcome, and so is my mom. I hope you learned something, and in the next video you'll see me doing that TV cabinet on the right. Make sure to subscribe and turn on that bell button to be advised when my new video comes out. Malo previše u rub si ga pretisnuo. Superiška. You can get plans for this coffee table and others by becoming my Patreon. You'll also help me create many projects. Thanks for watching, see you soon.